Hello and welcome to another episode of the Net Report podcast. Today we're going to be breaking down game one of the NBA Finals against the Boston Celtics and the Dallas Mavericks. And to no one's surprise, the Mavericks won 100-5. Oh, wait, that was not what actually happened. Chris, would you like to remind us of what the score actually was?
Yes, the Boston Celtics take game one. They win with a score of 107 to 89. And it really wasn't close for the most part. There was a Mavs third quarter run where it looked like it was getting really interesting. Luka hit a step back three to kind of cut it to within eight, and Boston fans were scared for a minute, but that was really the last we saw of it. Boston thoroughly dominated this game, and a lot of it was due to Kristaps Porzingis, who we'll talk about a lot in this video, coming back, just a complete, just ridiculous, man, just a complete game changer interior wise, getting all the switches. We'll get into that, but I want you to
Yeah.
tell me what stood out most to you in this Boston Celtics win.
I mean, more so than his offensive impact, it was so clear just from the moment he touched the floor, Porzingis, the defensive impact he was providing. It was, I mean, you and I were on the phone, we were talking about it together, like the stops that, like, even if he wasn't getting a block, it was clear that he was impacting shots in the interior. And then I think the other big thing for me is Luca in this game in two different aspects. In one aspect, for someone who was top five for sure in assists in the league, I know he averaged about 10 a game, one assist. That's crazy. So a lot of that has to do with the defensive scheme that the Celtics were throwing at him. It was both a lot of doubling, and it was clear that on the switches that, like, he was switching, or like he was getting the pick and roll switch that he wanted. Like, they were bringing someone over to get Lucas switched onto whenever Peyton Pritchard was out there, Sam Hauser was out there, Horford was out there. It was beating Horford a good amount in the first quarter for sure, but it was weird. Like, Pritchard and Hauser were holding their own against him,
Horford as
and
well,
then when they were
man. Like,
and then
not
when they were
necessarily
doubling
him,
him,
but
yeah, but like, and then when they were doubling him, it just kind of felt like he was suffocated. He made some bad passes, so it was a very weird game from him as a facilitator. On the other end, from Jalen Brown specifically, it seemed like he was attacking Luca when he was switched on to him. Like, I saw this point brought up on Twitter a bunch. Like, it kind of felt like Jalen Brown felt disrespected at times that Luca was guarding him. Like, he was crossing over and all these things, and it was just very interesting. Very, very. The box score won't show it because he had 30 points. Not a very good game from Luca. I mean, there's very few individual people I'll be like, oh, they had a great game. No one on the outside of, I guess, probably like Jaden Hardy. But that's because he really didn't play a lot of like real minutes. But the minutes he played were good. But no one on the Mavs had an individually good game. Even the Celtics, even though they won, it felt like even they have a lot to work on. Porzingis is the only one that I'm like, yeah, he had a completely amazing game, but he only got 20 minutes and it was off the bench, which I think is really key. As we continue in the series, is he going to come off the bench in game two? Is he going to start? I have to imagine he's going to start game two. Like, it felt like the minutes that we saw with him out there was much more impactful than the minutes we saw from Horford. Just like from as far as what Zelda can do defensively with Porzingis out there is just insane. Like, there, when Horford's out there, you can switch on him and you can beat him sometimes because he's slower, obviously, and much shorter. When Porzingis is out there,
it's,
good
man,
luck.
the times we'd
It
see him
was,
switch, get somehow like come out of nowhere, get that block. It was ridiculous, man. Like, it was hard to get anything going in the paint. It was just insane, really. And one thing I want to bring up too that we haven't really mentioned too much, just the mismatches, man. With Porzingis was insane. Like,
yeah,
completely attacking the mismatches. There was that one shot against Josh Green where just absolutely
it
like
was
shot
nasty,
right over
just
him.
nasty. He
You
got to
would
his spot and he was elbowing him, and he just went, "Oop."
You would think
from like
someone like
15, 20 feet out.
You would think someone like Derek Jones Jr. would at least be able to bother him a little bit. Not really at all.
Nope.
He had a specific switch up where he just shot right over him, completely overpowered him. And really, it was just a lot of that throughout this game. Another talking point, and we were joking about it throughout the game the entire time. Tatum had 15 points. This was not like an insane Jason Tatum game. Like, it wasn't bad by any means. He was an alright facilitator. I mean, he only shot 6 for 16, but the Celtics won and were ahead at points by like almost, I think they were up by 29 at their
Almost
highest.
30.
And
Yeah.
like Tatum had a, if I don't know if you want to say bad game, but or if you want to say just an okay game, but whatever metrics you want to use, like the fact that you're winning by this much with Tatum playing like this, wow. I mean, don't get me wrong, like I said, great defense, great facilitating, and then you have guys like Jaylen Brown who great from the field, amazing defense. Porzingis, amazing defense as well, great from the field. I mean, it was really just a team effort win, and whew, man, if you're the Mavericks, you're not feeling good. One more guy we need to bring up because we haven't mentioned him at all yet. Kyrie Irving, man. If the Mavericks are going to have any chance in this series, he needs to step up. He needs to be able to drop, 25, 30 points per game on efficient shooting. I believe it was 6 for 19. Just a lot of really, really bad, like, things we don't see from Kyrie. Dribbling off his foot. He was, like we were talking about the switching earlier. You had Sam Hauser and Al Horford being able to, like, not get absolutely cooked by Kyrie. Like, if you would have told me that before this game, I would have looked at you like you were crazy. So.
Yeah, and I don't expect them to stop him like that consistently, but it, I don't really want to delve too much into this because the Celtics fan in me can go on a whole tangent. But for someone who after the game came out and said, "Oh, the crowd didn't," I feel like they should have been louder. I'm like, bro, you shot 6 for 19 and looked awful out there. You were getting clamped by 80-year-old Al Horford and not very good at defending Sam Hauser. Like, slow your roll, buddy. Like, calm down. I do want to just correct you. Tatum had 16 points, so calm
My
down.
bad, my bad,
Um,
my bad.
and I think the last thing I really want to talk about from the Celtics standpoint, if you're the Mavs, you should be concerned. I know, like we talked about in our preview, that like Jason Kidd has really weird lineups in Game One, and there were some really weird lineups. I expect to see more Jaden Hardy going forward. We didn't see enough of him. I also expect to see less Derek Lively, more Daniel Gafford. The Lively minutes were awful. He looked like a rookie in this game, and it's not something he's looked like this entire playoffs. He looked like a
Someone mentioned it.
rookie
I
with
don't
bad
remember who.
fouls.
I don't remember who it was that I was watching this morning, but someone mentioned it felt like Lively just. It felt like Gafford was playing too far off of Porzingis, and then it was the other way around for
Lively was just like
Like,
bodying him. It
mhm.
was crazy.
Like that,
Um,
there needs to be a fine balance there. It's a matter of who you think can get that balance, and maybe Gafford's the answer. But man, they're gonna have to
I
fix that game
expect in
plan for
game two to see
Porzingis.
more Gafford minutes. Actually, Kleba played, but you wouldn't know that because he was out there, but that was about it. But we kind of talked about this. Jason Kidd has weird game one lineups, and to be fair, he was trying some things out. I really wish he had stuck with Jaden Hardy somewhere. He really didn't see any minutes at all until like
Garbage time, basically.
garbage time. He was effective in garbage time, but it's garbage time. I would really like to see him, just from a basketball standpoint, get more minutes in game two. Um, but like I was saying, if you're a Mavs fan, you should be really concerned. Not because you lost game one, but you lost game one because the Celtics had an all-around team win. No one dominated. Like, so that means you're going to tell me that in the next 6 games, you're like I will always say when I predicted this series, you're going to get a Luka game, you're going to get a Kyrie game. Two. The Celtics just got a game where no one really had a game. They just had an all-around game, like great team win. And Porzingis had an amazing game off the bench, but it was only 20 minutes.
That's
Tatum's
a
still going to
crazy
get his
part
game.
too. 20 minutes, man. It
Tatum,
felt
I
like
know
more.
it did because it was so dominant for that second quarter stretch. That the Celtics felt unbeatable. Like in those few minutes, it was insane the amount of things we were seeing. But you're still going to get a Tatum game, and you're still going to get a Jaylen Brown game. This wasn't a Jaylen Brown game. Like this was a very good performance by him, but this isn't what he can do offensively to his peak.
Hmm.
So now you're saying like you got to find one more from the Celtics and two more from the Mavs, and then it's like I trust in the Celtics to get that one more team win or to have a balanced game between the two Jays. Like
I'll
like
say
to go ahead, you're
no.
good.
I was gonna say that I'll say this for the Mavericks. There's gonna be a lot of talking points. There's a lot of keys. I think the biggest keys, like we mentioned, Kyrie needs to, kind of figure that out. I don't think Luca had as bad of a game as you were saying. They were definitely giving him problems. I think he, especially in that third quarter, like he was rolling. I think towards the fourth, it got pretty bad. But this also goes to my next point. Mavericks got to find a way to score off assists, whether it's catch and shoots, just get the ball on the floor. Because I think, like you said,
Too
there were
much
eight
ISO.
assists total, too much ISO ball. I don't think anyone had more than two assists, which is an insane stat in the NBA Finals.
No, Kyrie
Um,
led them with two assists, and that's not that they don't pass the ball; it's that those passes don't really lead to shot attempts as
mhm,
much as you would think for a team that has Kyrie and Luca. They don't really lead the league in assists. The problem when you're not passing and getting assists like that is it means you're locked onto the same defender, and the Celtics just have too many good defenders to not be passing the ball out.
mhm,
You want to move them around as much as possible, even though they're a good switching team. If you're The Celtics want you to play ISO ball. That's like perfect.
mhm.
Play ISO ball. Play into our 1 through 5, throw an Allen there, six defenders. Like you're not gonna win if that's how you play.
Yeah, the
Um,
switching also helped on those lobs too, man. Just no
yeah, they
room
were
for
attempts, but they
anything.
weren't working.
Hmm.
I do want to kind of correct it. I wasn't, and if I said this, I bet I wasn't saying Luka had a bad game. I
Hmm.
was saying that if you look at the box score, he scored 30 points. It's like, oh, he must have had a good game. I just don't think it really wasn't a great game from Luca
It
because I
wasn't
felt like he was being picked
generational.
on
Hmm.
defensively. He wasn't very I feel like he was kind of struggling offensively at points as well. Like one assist, that's just it's, it's horrible. That would be like if
Hmm. I attribute
I'd be
that.
like if Anthony Davis went out there and got one rebound for a game.
I
Like that
attribute
would be
that.
just
I,
what the heck happened.
I will say I attribute that more to I think just the Mavs kind of offensive sets. I think the Celtics did a really good job at like preventing like there were no opportunities to catch corner like hit corner
Mhm.
threes or like get really anything going. I
And when
felt
they
like there
did
were
pass out to the open shooters, they felt like they all missed.
yeah, the
It was
few
crazy.
corner shots they did get, it was just like ugly misses too. I remember one specifically
Mhm.
where like Luca like just barely hit like the side of the rim, like it was just super short,
Yeah.
and it was just a lot of that throughout the game. So I expect them to come and like we've said, Jason Kidd has actually done a really good job in game twos at adjusting. I expect them to come out and look a lot more cohesive. I can't imagine Kyrie's gonna
Oh yeah.
put up another stinker in a row. Luca's gonna be Luca. It's just a matter of like, hey, we got to get the ball moving, and we'll see what happens there because it's very concerning. I expect the Celtics to continue what they're gonna be doing, but I mean,
I mean, the Celtics didn't really even play a great game either.
mhm,
Like that third quarter run was concerning, and they answered it. And that's what championship teams do. They answer them, but they shot sub 40% from three, which I mean, it's slightly below their average. But like the turnovers were just ridiculous. Tatum specifically, six turnovers is not going to cut it. That's like
mhm,
2022 finals. Like I'm having war flashbacks, turnover numbers. Um, and I mean, even Derek White to an extent wasn't very efficient from three. So I think there's definitely things the Celtics can do to kind of lock in and get better, which is good. I didn't want them to come out in game one all cylinders fine, like everything was perfect, because then if the Mavs make if they make an adjustment, then you're kind of like, oh well, we feel like we're perfect. No, no, no. You continue to work on it for game two. Now you can watch the film. You know what you need to do. I will say this: if the Celtics come out punching first in game two, I don't know that they're gonna let up. Like the Mavs need to come out aggressive in game two.
mhm.
I really think that because game two, I think, is gonna set the tone for the series. I, from a basketball standpoint, think the Mavs are gonna take game two, but I don't know, man. Like the Celtics team just looked way too good. Peyton Pritchard wasn't even hitting shots, and Sam Hauser was. That's a
Mhm.
very good thing for the Celtics. Sam Hauser hitting shots. We know Pritchard's gonna get his, but Hauser finally getting his shot in these playoffs. I don't know, man. It's going to be interesting. I really do think it's going to be interesting. I think when the Celtics were locked in defensively, I don't see what the Mavs have to stop that.
And like I said, a game two, like you said, set the tone. We'll see how Jason Kidd adjusts because you're not going to be getting the same lobs you got against Minnesota or anyone else again in the playoffs.
No.
To be honest, they're gonna have to figure out a way to really, distribute those ball like we said, and Kyrie's got to get going. I think those are the main 3 points. I think there are adjustments for that. What those adjustments are, I don't know. I'm not Jason Kidd, but that's going to be the main thing, and we will see how they adjust. I do expect, like you said, Dallas to probably come back and win game two. If not, it can be a dicey series. I mean, obviously, there's going to be the next two games in Dallas, so I don't want to be like Celtics in five straight off the bat, but that's what a lot of us may be
I mean,
thinking after.
that's my like homer prediction. But I will say this for Celtics fans: that we've lost 2 games of playoffs. They were both game twos, and both those game twos, the opposing team had a crazy shooting night.
Hmm.
That kind of happens after you have a lull to
Mentally
game
prepare
one.
yourself for that.
Yeah, that's what I'm expecting, especially for a Mavs team who shoots about 43s a game. They only shot 27 in the game one loss. I expect them, be like you said, to make an adjustment. You're not getting lobs. Okay, let's shoot more threes. That's kind of what I expect. It, and that's what I'm kind of talking about. If they come out shooting threes and hitting them early, it's going to be a battle for the Celtics. And that's kind of where I'm like, yeah, I feel like the Mavs are going to win game two, but just deep breaths. Like, I don't think it's going to be that big a deal if they win game two.
We'll see. I mean, I'm hopeful for a nice long series. I know you're wanting to shut the
I'm
door
not.
as long as quick as you can, but
Get the brooms out.
but that was our takes and our reactions to game 1 of the NBA finals. Let us know your takes down below in the comment section below and who you think's going to ultimately win this finals and the biggest adjustments the Mavs need to make and who you think's going to win game 2. As always, I'm Chris. Thank you for tuning in. This is my co-host Jacob.
Tatum's never beating the allegations.
He's not, man. We'll see, man. He can have a crazy game 2 or game 3 and everyone forgets
Matter.
about game
He's
1.
never beating the allegations, bro.
But
KP for Finals MVP. Book it now.
he's looking amazing. He's my vote right now. It's only 1 game in, but whoo.
Book it.
But as always, thank you for tuning in and have a good one.